Hello and welcome to Gardening at 58 North. In this video I'm going to be pruning one of my jade plants here, otherwise known as a money plant. So this plant, as you can see, is looking quite healthy, it's quite nice, it's got quite a few branches on it as well. But it's getting a little bit too big for the pot, and I'm not wanting to get any bigger in this pot, and the reason for that is because if I give it a bigger pot there'll be no space in my flat for it. Also, I'd like to create it a bit more like a bonsai style. And because this isn't on the sunniest place in my flat, some of the stems are getting quite long and leggy. You can see there's a few here which have got several leaves without a single new stem growing. And you can see, for example, this one here, that whole stem with only one little side branch is quite poor really. So I'm going to remove these two side ones, just have the main trunk, but prune that as well, make it more like a small tree appearance. And this is something that you might want to do if you've got a money plant that's not in the sunniest position. My other plants, you can see in the description below, they're kept in very sunny positions and they constantly branch. Every few leaves there's a new branch coming and they make a really good branch structure. But if you have a plant like this and it's in a slightly shady position, you'll probably find it'll get quite leggy growth like this and it won't branch as well. So what I'm going to do here is I just want the one main trunk, I don't want these two trunks. So I'm going to cut them right down to the bottom so you just get a single stem on this plant. So that's that one gone, and I'll just cut this one as well. There we are. See what this little thing is down here. This is just actually not from the main plant. Basically a few of the older leaves fell off and they started growing baby plants, so that's what they are. You can see there's another leaf there, and that leaf that fell off already has a small baby starting to grow out of it. So you can quite easily see there the new baby plant starting to grow. So he's got his own roots, stems and leaves already. So I'll just leave them in the pot. When they get too big I'll eventually remove them. So that's the two side branches gone. I'll probably remove it a bit lower with a knife later on if it doesn't naturally die off. So as you can see here, it's got quite a long single stem at the bottom. I could cut it really hard, create the branch further down, but I quite like a long straight stem. It looks quite good for like an actual tree. Like a lot of trees that have no branch at the bottom and then there's something branch with a lot of branches. So what I'm going to do in this one, I'm going to cut it quite hard. I'm going to cut it hard back to where it's been branching, so where it does regrow it'll be branching very close to where it's got previous branches, which will give it a nice dense structure. So as you see here, the main stem comes up, doesn't branch at all until it gets to this point, and then it does. So just one node up from that branch, I'm going to cut it off. So the first one will be this one here. What that will do is either side of this stem here, between the stem and the leaves, it should send out 2 or 3 shoots from each side, and those 2 or 3 shoots, as they grow, I might even nip the buds off them and then they'll put out 2 or 3 more shoots, and it'll continue and give it a good nice branch structure. This one here, however, I'm not going to cut it to the same height. As you can see, it only grew one internode between the leaves and then it started branching, so I'm not going to cut it there. I'm just going to cut it slightly higher up so that it will keep the nice branching habit. So I'm just cutting it there. And then this one again, you can see it did actually branch one internode up again, so I'm just going to cut this one slightly higher to there and there. So if you want to get a very nice branch structure and it is quite a shady position you've got the plant in, you can just keep cutting it quite hard every time it branches. So as you can see, you let it grow quite long. If you just pinch it constantly, it tends not branch quite as much, and you don't get such a thick stem forming as well. So if you want to get a thick stem, it's good to let it grow quite a lot. So as you can see here, comes up, branches, branches again, and then it branches a 4th time there. So it's a good amount of branching, but as I say, these will put on a lot of growth soon because I've taken a lot of material off. There's going to be a lot of energy in the roots and the stem. That's going to force out a lot of new stems, new branches, and I'll try and give you guys an update on this, let you see how the new shoots are forming, and it should create a much nicer branch structure. So it's been 6 months now, and as you can see, it's had a little bit of growth put on and quite a lot more branching. Now it hasn't put on a huge amount of growth, and that's because it's been some of the darkest 6 months of the year. So unfortunately it hasn't grown a lot, but it still gives you a good indication of kind of how well it can sprout and how it branches as you prune it. Now one of the rules of pruning this is that the thicker the stem is that you prune, or the bigger the stem is that you take off, the more it tends to branch. So I can give you examples of this. So you can see here there's 2 stems coming out of that one where I pruned it. That's probably the biggest one I pruned here. Now this was almost big enough to send out more than 2, but it did just send out 2 in the end. This other larger one here sent out 2. As you can see, it's branched quite nicely. The one around here, however, was a little bit smaller, possibly, and it sent out one shoot, but then it very quickly branched, so that's pretty much still 2 shoots. And the smallest one, however, was a little bit too small, so that's only sent out the 1 shoot. So because of that, it gives me clues as to how I should prune this coming forward. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to leave it for a while, let it grow quite long again. And the reason for that is I want it to definitely branch when I prune it again. These two are probably almost big enough for me to give them a prune down to about this height and encourage some more branching. But if I did it at this stage, it's not 100% sure that they would definitely have more than 1 shoot coming out. So I'm going to leave them for now. And the other ones are still definitely too small for that. But you can see there's definitely a lot more branching, and everywhere I've cut it has sent out new shoots. And apart from one smaller one, they've all sent out 2. So in the future, I'm going to just continue with this kind of regime of pruning. What I'm going to do is let them grow quite long, cut them hard. What that will do is this will get a really nice branch structure, and it should be even and symmetrical on each side, hopefully. You can see here these 2 branches which have actually formed naturally are a nice perfect mirror image to these ones here. And when I prune these ones at a later date, I'll be carefully pruning them to make sure that they match how these ones start to branch as well, so that I can try and get a nice symmetrical shape. But you can see it's done quite well. There is a bit of a lean on the plant, so I might try and straighten that if I repot it or reposition it. But the plan is for now to keep it in the same size pot and just keep pruning it to keep its size under control. Because it's in a small pot, I don't want to have it too large. I'm just going to keep it under control. I may get it up to about this kind of height and this kind of width eventually after a few years. But for now I'm just going to keep it small, keep it well pruned. Hopefully we'll get a nice symmetrical branch structure, and it should be quite a dense bushy plant with a nice clear stem. I will remove these leaves at a later date. I'm leaving them for now because they do help to thicken up the trunk and increase some stronger growth. But I will be taking off the lower leaves at a later date just to give it a nice tree shape appearance. And I'll give you guys updates every few months. This will be a slightly slower progress than my other money plants, and the reason for that is this jade plant has a much smaller pot, so it's going to grow a lot smaller, and also it's on a slightly less sunny windowsill, so it's not going to have the fastest of growth. But hopefully in a few years time we'll see and we'll have a nice branch tree.